Good morning, dear students. My name is Dr. Shuaib Mohammad Bhat. I am working as Assistant Professor in the Department of English at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Today in this video lecture, I shall be discussing about reading skills. So we shall be discussing in this lecture the question bank on your module 4th, which is entitled as reading skill. So reading skill, as you know, is our 4th module, is the 4th unit in our syllabus. We are done with all the lectures, we are done with all the classes, but as routine, as by the tradition, we are discussing the question bank at the end. So I'm today discussing the question bank regarding to the module 4, which is reading skill. Now, before I directly just deal with first question, I would like to introduce the pattern of question paper to you. In your question paper, there are 3 subcategories of questions. There are 3 different categories of questions. First category is problem solving and critical thinking questions. That means in your first part of your question paper, you will see there are some questions which are going to check your problem solving skill and create this critical thinking skill. These 2 abilities will be checked. One is problem solving, another is critical thinking. So the first part of your question deals with this thing. The second part of your question paper will contain long answer type questions, where different other skills will be checked, because you have to write the descriptive answers there. So then your subject knowledge will be checked. Different things will be checked under second heading. Then the last part of your question paper is short answer type questions, where your precision, your cohesion will be checked. How can you sum up the whole answer in few lines, in few sentences? These are the 3 different parts of your question paper. Let's discuss about part A. As I told you, part A is problem solving and critical thinking questions are there. So I would like to discuss a question with you which is based on problem solving and critical thinking. See, the question may be like this. In your examination, questions may come like this in this category. Like, provide a detailed explanation of reading techniques, express your personal preference, and substantiated with supporting reasons. Question, if you focus on the question asks you to provide a detailed explanation of reading techniques. You have to provide a detailed explanation of reading techniques. Then the question asks you to express your personal preferences. What are your personal preferences? Means among all the techniques, which technique would you like to give preference? Which technique you prefer for yourself, for reading? Then substantiated with supporting reasons. So when the question asks you for your personal preferences, and the question also demands to substantiate with supporting reasons, obviously your critical thinking will be checked. So how can you just build a good answer? How can you build or construct good reasons? And how good are you while choosing your preference? And how can you substantiate that? And your problem solving skill is being checked by such questions. The answer goes like this. Reading techniques are very varied approaches and strategies employed by individuals to enhance their reading efficiency, comprehension, and retention. Now the question is the first part of the question. It asks us to provide a detailed explanation of reading techniques. The first thing a student should answer, he or she should answer about reading techniques. What are these reading techniques? So when you are drafting the answer for such questions, first you need to just deal with the main claim, main question there in the question. What is the main claim? What is the main thing which the question asks you? The question asks you here to provide a detailed explanation of reading techniques. So it is important for you to explain reading techniques first. Now, reading techniques, they are varied approach. There are different approaches. These reading techniques are different approaches and strategies which are employed by readers to enhance their reading efficiency, comprehension and retention. See, when we read any text, when we read any written stuff, we are reading it for several reasons. Number one reason may be to increase your efficiency at reading. You want to be a proficient reader. You want to be a fluent reader. For that purpose, you are taking the assignment of reading. Number one purpose may be this. Number second is comprehension. Sometimes you are reading in order to comprehend a text, in order to understand a text. So what is written there in the text? So that may be your second purpose. Comprehension, understanding. Second is retention. Sometimes you want to retain the information in your mind for the future references. So for that purpose, a person takes reading, or a person just starts reading, or a person just begins the assignment of reading. So there are several reasons responsible for the readers, means why they read. So when we talk about reading strategies, they help us. They help every individual to enhance his fluency, efficiency in reading. Reading techniques also help you to comprehend a text. Reading techniques also help you to retain the information which you have extracted from the text. So by making this claim, by speaking all these details, we come to know that reading techniques, they directly align with the purpose of reading. So if there is any strategy, if there is any way, if there is any approach which leads you to achieve your purpose, to gain your purpose, so that means we cannot underestimate or we cannot downplay those approaches or those strategies. That means those strategies or those approaches which lead you to achieve your goal, they are very important for you. They're the part of that action, part of that process, part of that assignment. Same is the case. So we cannot downplay reading techniques. Reading techniques are important for every reader, for every individual, because an individual can enhance his efficiency or her efficiency. An individual can enhance his or her comprehension, his or her retention with the help of reading techniques. Different people may find certain techniques more effective based on their learning style, preferences, and the nature of the material they are reading. Now, there are different people, and these different people, they find certain techniques more effective based on their learning style. See, if you remember the classes which I held for the reading skill, which I held for this module, we talked about reading techniques in detail. We talked about skimming, scanning, detailed reading, intensive, extensive reading, speed reading, critical reading. We talked about these different things. Now, there are people, for example, I may like intensive reading for my own learning style. Intensive reading means reading in detail, reading in depth, where you are extracting all the information from the text, where you want to retain the information for the future references. So my learning style is this: I want to learn each and everything that is dumped or buried in the text. So for that information, for that reading, I need intensive reading. So reading habits or reading techniques, or I can say a person chooses reading techniques according to his or her learning style. My learning style is I want to know each and everything. That's why I prefer intensive reading. Now we all know skimming. That is reading for gist, reading for main idea. Now there may be a person, or I would like to take my example once again. If I love to read only to get the main idea, so that means my reading technique, I prefer skimming. Why? Because my learning style is different. I don't want to go in details. I don't want to go in depth. I don't want to submerge in the text. I only want to get the central idea or the main idea. So every individual chooses his or her reading techniques, prefers his or her reading techniques according to his or her learning style. Now here I'll discuss some common reading techniques and express also personal preference and provide supporting reasons. We have the first technique, that is skimming. Skimming is quickly glancing over the text. When you quickly move your eyes over the text only for one reason. The reason is to get main idea and overall content. When you want to just get only the main idea of the written text, so the reading you are doing for that purpose, that is skimming. In skimming, what you are doing? You are skipping a lot of examples, lot of illustrations, lot of extra details. You are focusing on the main content so that you can get a main idea on which the stuff has been written. That's it. That's skimming. Now, I want to share my personal view on skimming. Now, skimming is, that's what I told you. The question is based on problem solving and critical thinking skill. You have to show your critical thinking skill when you share your personal views. Skimming is useful when you need to preview a text or quickly identify key points. If you want to preview a text means before reading you want to just preview it, you can do skimming. Or if you want to identify the key points in a text, for that purpose you can go with skimming. It is effective for getting a broad understanding, but may lack depth. This type of reading technique is useful, or it is being taken to get a broader idea or broader understanding, but it lacks depth, but there is no in-depth knowledge. You cannot get in-depth knowledge with the help of skimming. Then second technique which I want to discuss is scanning. So searching for specific information or keywords without reading the entire text. Scanning, I would like to give you an example of phone directory or directory. If you have a telephone directory or directory in front of you, where there are thousands of phone numbers written, now you are going to search your phone number in that directory. So what you are doing when you search your contact number, you are not reading every contact number. No. You are only just focusing on a particular number which belongs to you. So such type of reading is called scanning. It is searching for specific information. It is searching for keywords without reading the entire text. You are not reading entire text. You are searching for few keywords. So that means you are just going to a particular series where you can find that number. For example, if in the dictionary you are searching a word elite, you are searching the meaning of word elite. Will you read the whole dictionary? No. Then you will go to the E series first. Where is E? It's here. Then you will not check the words which start with EA, EB, EC, ED, EE. No. You will directly jump to EL. Then you cannot check ELA, ELB, ELC, ELE, ELD. Then you will directly come to ELI. Until then you will be able to find out the word elite. So this type of reading is called scanning. This type of reading is called scanning. Scanning means when you are searching for specific information and you are not reading the entire text. Now the personal view is this: scanning is handy for finding particular details. It's easy, it's easy and it's useful to find particular details or answers to specific questions. You can get answer to specific questions by the help of scanning. It's efficient for targeted information retrieval. If you want to retrieve the targeted information which you know, so for that purpose you can go with scanning. Then there is another method which we call as SQ3R method. SQ3R means, it's an acronym SQ3. There is a word which starts with S, then Q, then there are three words which start with R, letter R. That's why I call it 3R, or that's why we call it 3R. So the definition of this method of reading is, it is a systematic approach which involves surveying the material, generating questions, reading actively, reciting key information, and reviewing the content. The whole SQ3R method can be summed up in this definition. It's an approach which involves, number one, that is S, surveying the material. When you are reading anything, first you are surveying the material. Number second is you are generating questions. Why the text has been written? What can I get when I read the text? What are the different objectives of this written material? Then there are 3Rs. Number one is read actively. Number second is recite the key points. Means reread the key points. Then the next is review the content. Review the whole content at the end. Now, personal view regarding SQ3R method is, it is effective for in-depth understanding and long-term retention. See, when you are having a written material in front of you, first you are surveying the material. Surveying means you are checking whether the material is correct or incorrect, whether the material is qualitative material or not. You are checking its credibility, you are checking the data, you are checking the sources and evidences which have been given by the writer to support his or her arguments. Number second is when you are generating questions. Now you are generating questions. Is this material the author's own arguments, or it has been written on the basis of certain critical connotations? Why should I read the material? What can I get after reading the material? How can this material help me? What is its role in my academics? What's its role in my social life? What can it give to me in my professional life? Then you read actively. When you read it actively means reading is not like you are going through the letters, you are going through the words with good pronunciation. That only is not reading. That's good if you are a fluent reader, if you have good pronunciation, we appreciate you. That's good. But reading means to read and receive. When you receive, then you understand it. When you understand it, you evaluate it. When you evaluate it, you respond to it. This process is called reading. It's not only you are a fluent reader, you can read quickly. That's not reading. That's only you are recognizing the letters. You are receiving these letters. You are recognizing that. If you are not understanding, if you are not evaluating it, and if you are not able to digest it, that too voluntarily and deliberately after going through all the evidences, that's called reading. Read actively. That's active reading. Then you recite the key terms. Okay, now you read a text of 10 paragraphs. So you have written some key points. This paragraph is on this key idea, on this sub-idea. So you recite these key points once again. And at the end, you review the whole content. So when you are going through this process, obviously you will retain the information in your mind. There are chances that SQ3R method is going to help you to retain the read information for the future references or for the longer duration of time. And the active engagement with the material through questioning and summarization enhances comprehension. You easily understand it. Why? Because when you are actively engaging yourself with the written material, when you are generating questions, and when you are summarizing the whole content, it makes your comprehension better. It makes you to understand the written material better in a good way. Then we have the next point. That's mind mapping. Another technique is mind mapping. What's mind mapping? It's creating visual representation of the relationships between concepts, ideas, and information. One more type of reading is this. You are creating visual representations of the ideas, information, emotions, feelings, which are encoded in a written text. So this is another strategy of writing, another strategy of reading, So by creating this visual representation of the ideas, you become able to retain the information and comprehend the text. Now, the personal view regarding mind mapping is, it is a creative way to organize and connect information visually. Mind mapping is a creative way by which you can organize and by which you can connect information visually. Then, it helps in understanding complex topics and can be particularly useful for visual learners. It aids you to understand the complex ideas and can be particularly useful for visual learners. The next reading technique is active reading. Active reading, what's active reading? It means to engage with the text by asking questions, making predictions, and reflecting on the content. Active reading is when you read any text actively. Now, what does it mean to read actively? When you ask questions, why is this statement written here by the author? What is its credibility? Is it valid? Is it based on the facts? You create questions. You make predictions like, yes, this may be in the next paragraph. The author maybe or the writer may be dealing now with this. So when you are making predictions, it means you are understanding the read text which you have read already. So a person cannot make predictions when or if he has not understood the previous things properly. So you can only make predictions when you have the exact or when you have the good information of the previous read stuff. So you make predictions and you reflect on the content and you are providing feedback. Active readers, they provide feedback because they are not reading for fun. They are not only reading for information. So information and fun may be their purpose, but at the end of the day, they are doing active reading. They want to just see what's beyond the lines. So that's active reading. The personal view I want to share is active reading. It promotes deep comprehension and critical thinking. When you read actively, when you ask questions, when you check the genuineness of the text, when you check the credibility of the text, when you are doing an in-depth reading, obviously your comprehension would be the deeper comprehension. You will be able to understand the minute ideas, abstract ideas which are beyond the lines, and it will improve your critical thinking because you are using your mind. You are deconstructing the text. You are not just checking what is in between the lines, but you are trying to know what's beyond the lines. So it improves your critical thinking. And it involves the reader in the learning process, making it more likely to remember and apply the information. Or it involves reader in the learning process. A reader learns something by active reading. Then the personal preference, I would like to share my personal preference. I like active reading most. Why? Because it involves a dynamic interaction with the text. Because a reader is doing a dynamic, or I can say an active interaction with the text by asking certain questions, by making predictions, and by reflecting on the content. So here are some supporting reasons for my preference. Number one is enhanced comprehension. Why do I prefer active reading? Because it enhances, actively engaging with the material. When you are actively engaged with the reading, it will enhance your comprehension. You will understand all the concepts well. As I told you, when you ask questions, when you make predictions, when you reflect upon the text, your comprehension would be the deeper comprehension. You must have known the whole written text by active reading. Improved retention. I prefer active reading because there is improvement in the retention. So when you actively read a text, when you deconstruct a text, when you try to see what is beyond the lines, so when you are doing such kind of reading, it improves your retention. The information will remain for longer period of time in your memory because you are doing active reading. The next point is critical thinking development. When you make predictions, you are sharing your own creativity. When you make predictions, when you reflect upon the text, this is the process where you are using your brain, where you are using your mental abilities. So it encourages you to improve your critical thinking. So your critical thinking will be improved. Then the next thing is adaptability. So adaptability, I can say this reading, it can be applied to various types of texts like academic articles, novels, any other scientific reading you are doing. So this method of reading can be suited for any sort of text which you are reading. So these are the reasons why I chose active reading. The next question can be, explain the essentials of reading skill to make it an effective skill for a real life situations. So second question which is going to check your this critical thinking and problem solving skill is, we need to explain essentials of reading skill so that we can make it an effective skill for real life situations. See, developing effective reading skill is very important. We all know to develop effective reading skill is important because a lot of information comes to you not in the form of spoken conversations or spoken form, but important and maximum information will be reaching to you in the form of written texts. I repeat it. Important information and maximum information will come to you in the form of written text. So when important information is being given to you with the help of written texts, and when maximum of the information you are getting through the written texts, so it is important for you to develop an effective reading style, develop an effective reading skill. Because if you do not have the effective reading skill, you cannot do justice with the written material. You cannot get the exact information which the written stuff is containing. So the written material which is being given to you, so you cannot decode the messages properly because your reading style, your reading skill is poor. It's not effective. Effective reading skill is important, and it's the need of the hour for everybody to have effective reading skill. Now, there are some essentials of reading skills so that we can make it effective in real life situations. How can we make reading skill effective in real life situations? Number first is active engagement. Active engagement means actively interact with the text by asking questions, making predictions, and drawing connections. Every reader must be actively engaged with the written text. Now, how can we make ourselves actively engaged with the text? Number one thing is by asking questions. We should ask questions about the written material that is being provided to us. Number second is, it is better to make predictions. It is better to draw conclusions. When we do these activities, so we are making an active engagement with the text. What is real life application? How can it be applicable in the real life? Active engagement, it promotes critical thinking. Active engagement promotes critical thinking because making predictions, asking questions, drawing conclusions, all these activities, they require your mental ability. When you are working upon these things, you are developing your critical thinking. It enables individuals to analyze information. It enables individuals to analyze information and make informed decisions and extract meaning from diverse sources. This is the application of active engagement. Then, the next thing is skimming and scanning. So, I talked about skimming and scanning in the previous slide also. So I would like to give you a small hint. How can we make our reading skill effective? It is better to know skimming and scanning so that we can save time. We can save, because there are a lot of texts which do not require your in-depth reading, which require only skimming and scanning. Now, if you are paying more attention, if you are just using a lot of time, if you're investing a lot of time for those texts, that means you cannot be able to finish other assignments and other tasks. So it is important for all of us, in order to make our reading effective, we should know skimming and scanning. I have given you the detailed information about skimming and scanning in the previous question. Comprehension. What's comprehension? Grasp the meaning of the text by understanding the relationship between the ideas. It's important for us to grasp the meaning which is there. which is there in the text. We can grasp the meaning when we understand different ideas or relationship between different ideas which are there in a written text. So comprehension, what is its real life application? It is essential for understanding instructions. We can understand instructions, contracts, policies with the help of better comprehension when we are having better comprehension. Vocabulary building. So we need to just we need to expand our vocabulary to understand a wide range of texts. For effective reading, you should have good vocabulary, rich vocabulary. Because a rich vocabulary in real life, it will enhance your communication skill. When you have the knowledge of words, when you have the treasure of words, you can communicate with everybody. And you can communicate in a good way. It facilitates clearer understanding of complex information. You can make complex information very easier for people to understand when you have the knowledge of words. And supports effective written and verbal expression. It supports what? Effective written. It supports written and verbal expression. Vocabulary. Then, critical evaluation. Assess the credibility, reliability, and bias of information. It's always better to assess the credibility, reliability, and bias of the information. We cannot be the effective readers if we do not check the credibility, reliability of the written text and bias of the information. So we need to know these things, then only we can be effective readers. This critical evaluation, what can it give us? It's good for making sound judgments, distinguishing between facts and opinions. There's a lot of difference between a fact and an opinion. When I share anything, when I discuss anything to you, you can be much attracted and spellbound towards the fact rather than my opinion. My opinion may hardly matter to you, but a fact, when I am discussing it and when I am speaking about a fact, you can be spellbound. You can be attracted towards the facts. So we can know when we read, we can better understand the definition between the fact and the opinion when we have the capability or understanding of credibility and reliability. Then adaptability is another point. It means adjust reading strategies based on the purpose. We need to adjust our reading strategies based on purpose, genre, and complexity of the text. Sometimes you are speaking about a text, you are speaking about a genre, so you need to fit or adjust your reading strategies according to the genre. If it is a novel, you are expected to spend more time and you are expected to do faster reading, speed reading. If it is a poem, you are expected to do active reading, critical reading, because this is a small text but it contains deeper meaning. So we should know to adjust different teaching strategies for different texts. So then only we can make our reading strategy effective. Next thing is time management. It's always better to get the habit of effective reading. We should know how to allocate time effectively for reading tasks. Then part B, it contains long answer questions. Among the long answer questions, we have the first question. It is advantages of reading skills in our day-to-day life. There are a lot of advantages of reading skill in day-to-day life. Number one is information acquisition. When we read, when we have the habit of reading, we will get information. We will acquire different informations. Information of different sources. For example, you are reading scientific books, you are reading any other book, you are reading a journal, you are reading a newspaper, you are reading a book on astronomy, you are reading a book on modern science, you are reading a book on mental health, you are reading a book on anxiety, human psychology. So whatever you are reading, all the written stuff, or all the read stuff which you have read, it gives you information. Information on different subjects, on different topics. Second thing is communication. You better get communication skill. You get effective communication, because when you read a lot of stuff, you are exposing yourself to different written styles, to different vocabulary, to different sentence structure, to different syntax used by the writers. So you are improving your communication skill. Next point is critical thinking. Your critical thinking will be improved because when you are reading a text, you are exposing yourself to different perspectives. You are using your brain because see, a lot of writers, they have their own styles of writing. There may be a writer whose text may require your mental presence. So you need to check different texts, you need to consult different dictionaries, different references. So when you are doing all this activity, when you are trying to extract meaning from a written text, and when you are drawing conclusions, when you are making guesswork, making predictions about the text, you are improving your critical thinking. Then reading skill, if you have the effective reading skill, there is one more chance, that is career advancement. We can advance our career when we are having good reading skill. So it's good for our career success. It enables us to just navigate the complex information from one person to another person, and we can take good decisions when we read different types of texts. We become aware to take good decisions, and when we take good decisions, obviously there is career development and advancement, or you can call it career success. And there is personal development. When you are reading different texts, you are reading different characters, you are reading different topics, you will see there is personal development. You are reading the plays of Shakespeare, you are reading the novels by Lawrence or by some other writer. So different characters, they teach you how to live a good life. They teach you what can be a flaw in your life, what can be your character flaw, what can be the strong zone for you to live a balanced or a good life. And there is academic success when you are reading different things, different books. Obviously, you will grow in your academics, entertainment and relaxation. Your books can provide you entertainment. There are a lot of books. There are a lot of books which are based on fiction or poetry also, or some other texts can provide you entertainment and relaxation. It gives you the ability of problem solving, and you can build your vocabulary and language skills, and it can bring digital. You can be able. There is one more point, which is digital literacy. So you can get much information, or you see much information is being conveyed through digital platforms. You can be able to navigate that information through online modes. Then there are certain steps to be followed to read the text more effectively. Number one is, it's better to preview the material, and it's better to set goals so that you can read the text carefully, and it's better to take notes. And the next point is, use active reading strategies. And there is one more thing by which we can make our reading more effective. That's when we break it down into the smallest concepts, when we revisit the text, when we review the text, and when we utilize visual aids. So all of these elements, all of these subcomponents, they are important to learn a text. We can also discuss with our friends. We can utilize supplementary resources, and we can practice the retrieval. The next point which I want to discuss is the short answer question. Short answer question is define reading comprehension. I would like to talk about reading comprehension. Reading comprehension. What is reading comprehension? Here I would like to decoding skills. Decoding skill comes in reading comprehension when you are decoding the skills. Like, it is recognizing and understanding individual words to establish a foundation for comprehension. When you are able to recognize and understand individual words so that you can understand the text, or so that you can establish a foundation for comprehension, this skill is called a decoding skill in reading comprehension. Synthesis of information. What does this mean, synthesis of information? It is integrating details at a sentence, paragraph, and overall text levels to create coherent understanding. After the end of the paragraph, when you are integrating the details with another paragraph, so by doing that, you are making a coherence or a logical connection in between the paragraphs, or in between different parts of a text. So this is important for reading comprehension. Connection making. Connection making means to establish or identify connections between ideas and themes. When we are able to establish an idea, establish a connection between different ideas and themes, it helps us in reading comprehension. Inference means drawing logical conclusions and making educated guesses. When we are making logical conclusion means conclusions based on your reading. When you draw conclusions based on the reading, and when you make predictions based on your reading, this is called inference. It also helps us in reading comprehension. Background knowledge. It's always better to utilize your background knowledge or experience as a scaffold to enhance comprehension. It's also useful for reading comprehension. Then prediction, to make guesses what will be coming in the next paragraph. That also helps in reading comprehension. Critical thinking, that means engaging with material on a deeper level. When you engage yourself with the material on a deeper level, it means you are analyzing, evaluating, and synthesizing information. Then next point is application of knowledge, applying the acquired information to solve problems, make decisions, or contribute to informed decisions. Application of knowledge. So applying your acquired knowledge to information or knowledge to solve problems. This also helps in making decisions. It also helps in reading comprehension. Next point is educational significance. It plays a vital or pivotal role in academic success by enabling students to absorb, retain, and apply information from various sources. Then we have professional relevance, and the last point is effective communication. So I would like to sum up this reading comprehension. It is a multifaceted skill that combines linguistic abilities, critical thinking, and background knowledge to construct meaning from a written or printed text. So this is all for this question. If you want extra information on the topic, there are these resources. You can use these books. You can take help from these books so that you can get extra information on the questions. This is all for today. I would like to stop here. Thank you. Thank you for listening me carefully.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.